Hey friends, I hope you're doing well. So today is the second day of Easter and I have some coffee here. We're going to take a look at what's changed in Notion to Anki. We're currently on version 0.5.3, so a lot of various things has happened since last time, and go get some beverage, hot coffee, cold coffee, delicious hot water, tea, whatever, and buckle up because this one is going to be a little bit longer than usual. The first thing we're going to look at is a feature that was added. You can see we have a new option called only create flashcards from toggles that don't have the emoji. So this was something somebody on YouTube requested. I think his name was Eduardo, if I'm remembering correctly. If not, I'm sorry, I botched your name. So if you remember, the cherry picking mode is you can pick a toggle, and then if it has the cherry, then it gets created, right? But with the avocado emoji, it's essentially the same thing, but it just reverses it. So let's create flashcards from this. I'm gonna go here in the upper right corner and hit the export. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube for the first time, make sure to check out the playlist link in the description, because some stuff is not going to be explained here. I'm not going to check it off now. We'll create, upload the file, convert it, and download, and then open this up. And you can see we got the deck, and let's open this one up. And you can see the default behavior in Notion to Anki is to just create the top level one. So let's actually, I totally forgot that, I keep forgetting it. Let's use all the toggle list, and let's also keep the maximum one toggle. Those options were there from before. We're gonna upload again. I want to show you that it creates the ignored one. So you can see that it created this one. This will be ignored. This one was created. So I'm gonna just delete this, and then now what we're gonna do is we're gonna enable this avocado emoji, and then do that again. I have to say, I look forward to the day we get rid of the zip files. So now you can see that it only created two, and this is the front, and create a close for this. So it skipped the emoji with the avocado there. So I hope this is going to be useful for you if you have a lot of notes and you just want to say drop these without manipulating the page. So check out the avocado one. So that's the first thing. And another issue we had is so this card has an MP3 file. So this is how the card looks like in Anki, right? You can see there is this MP3 link, and if you don't want it, now there's a card option for that. So that was something that was contributed by Alp. Thank you, Alp, for your contribution. We appreciate it. So what else changed? Well, we did some restructuring of the styles, and so we're still using Bulma, and we're going to continue using Bulma, but we made some changes, so it's easier to later down the road create interfaces. Especially new things which we want to try out. Another change we made is that if you're now on the dev server, you should see this big yellow warning. From time to time I do ask users to test on the dev server, and people might forget that they're on the dev server and then just bookmark the link or continue using the dev server regardless of it being stable or unstable. So please make sure to use the live version. The dev version is going to be unstable from time to time. We push out changes versus the live, where we do try to be careful, perform proper regression testing before changes make themselves out. Cool, so let's look at some other things. I've been thinking about the template manager, and I've been drawing out on paper I don't know if you can see my beautiful drawings. I've been trying to come up with the different user interfaces on how we can create fields and how we can create how we can essentially create Anki node types or templates so that the user gets more control. I'm still exploring options, but a few, especially this one, which we're gonna look at, it's called grapes.js. I'm considering adding support for this one. So it's like, if you're not familiar with this, it's this project where you can create templates without having to write any code. So if we had support for this block-based interface, then users of Notion to Anki could build their own templates inside of the website instead of having to manually edit in Anki. And I know not everyone in the world does web development, and it's a huge time investment for people to learn to code. So if we could automate or make it easier to create really nice looking templates, that would be amazing. So I've been exploring WYSIWYG editors, block-based editors. This one is block-based, so it's actually pretty cool. You get these powerful structures, and it also easily exports to HTML. So maybe we're gonna try this interface and then see how it works. I am also exploring writing or building new interfaces, but the challenge there is like what is simple, what is easy to use. So ideally we want something that's powerful, but as soon as you have power, like, you get complexity, and how do you reduce complexity when you still want flexibility? So there's a lot of challenges around that with templating. Let's see what happens, but this is something that might come soon, might not. Let's see. I'm not going to promise anything right now, but I definitely do want to solve the problem where people can pick their own fields, and people can design their own cards, or the templates at least. So for the basic input and close deletions, even if we have to set some limitations, having the flexibility is at least some of it to be able to design would be nice. So here I have just 2 column with blocks, text blocks. I mean, you can see here's the text, and then I can just go in and click typography, and I can just center align it there. Here too, let's say the back text is too small, I can go in here and I can just increase it, right, to, let's say, 21 pixels, bam. And I can take a look at it on mobile. I really like this setup, because when I'm making my own templates in Anki, it's so ugly, it's so difficult, and you don't really see how it's gonna look like on mobile. So having these powerful preview options here makes it easier to make responsive designs. Responsive, if you're not familiar with web design, it's basically that the user interface adjusts based on the screen size. So it will become smaller if the window resizes. If it's a small device, the website will be smaller, and it will still be usable and look good. So that's what I mean by responsive. And with the UI tool like this, it's easier to do. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think. This video is first going to go out on Patreon, and then after a few moments it's going to be on YouTube. So I think this grapes.js might be worth exploring deeply and see how it works. It might not work at all. Maybe we actually do need to build our own UI. But I want to try this one out, and then I see. And I also have some other ones that we don't need to look at them now, but those are not as polished as this. As you can see here, you can basically drag and drop stuff. It has blocks here, so you have text, you can drag in an image. Of course, this has to be connected somehow to the parser, so even though it does solve the UI thing, it doesn't solve how do we connect this to Notion. That's something we have to do, or that's something that's still has to be figured out. But I like the default setup. You can see it has multiple select and so on. Cool. So that was it for the template stuff. We are exploring. We still want to get something nice out. It's a priority, definitely, but it takes time. So we want to do it properly. Another thing is we fixed the bugs in Abion's template. There was a issue in the close deletion. Somebody reported it on Discord, thank you. And that should be fixed now. Another bug, I think that was in the footer where the image here from DigitalOcean was not being displayed. Yeah, I also did a few experiments with automated testing. We added Cypress to the project and then we removed it. I removed it for different reasons, but we are having, like, it's less and less, but we still have regressions whenever we make changes. So when an update happens, some people send me emails and tell me, hey Alexander, something is broken, please fix this. Or hey, well, what happened? This was working. Oh, the website was working, but now it's not working since yesterday or something. So that's because sometimes we make mistakes, right? Actually, it happens every now and again, we make mistakes. So the whole point with the automated testing is to actually reduce the number of bugs. So Cypress is a cool tool, but I don't think that's what we're going to be using. We're going to look for some other tools and probably just also write some integration tests and just run those. So, and there's a lot more we can do there in order to reduce the number of regressions. And also, it's not really bugs, it's just something that happened recently from the most recent changes is that people are using different kinds of browsers, right? Their browser might be outdated, it might have support for certain things, it might not. So that's something that we also need to, I think, cover. It's not good enough to just tell people to go use Chrome. Some people prefer using Firefox, Opera, and so on. So we want to graciously fall back in those cases. Yeah. Another thing that was changed, I don't think anybody noticed it. We changed the maximum file size upload. I didn't really want to do this initially, but I changed it to 104.8567 megabytes. There's going to be text in the screen somewhere in the post editing, so you should see the real number. And the reason why I wanted to add that was we need to restrict the uploading because the server itself doesn't have unlimited disk space. So that's even though it's a virtual server, it's a physical limitation. It's a limitation of the server. So it's a hard limit. It will then go down. The resources are limited. So I've made changes related to the uploading process to reduce file size or the disk space usage, and we can do more. We can compress images, but we are kind of limited with the current flow, right? The way Notion to Anki works today, it might not work like this in the future, but the way it works today is you upload a zip file, and then this zip file is sent to the server. So that means there is a round trip. The server gets the big file potentially, and then has to unpack it because a zip file is a compressed file, and then it reads through and does the automated stuff. So in order to reduce latency or make the experience faster for users, there are different things we can do. And right now, by limiting the size, we can prevent I don't want to say bad actors, but I want to, like, let's say you have a student in somewhere in the world, and that student has a lot of screenshots. If that student uploads too big uploads, too frequent, they can basically make this rendered server useless to everybody else because it's going to crash. So or now it should crash less. It's not crashing that often, I think. At least I haven't had any issues with monitoring. It's become more stable after the changes that have been made the last few weeks or last few months. But there are different things we can explore, like image compression, but it is challenging with the zip. So when Notion's API comes out, that's definitely something we're going to look at. Can we take the image and then reduce the size by, let's say, 70%, but the quality remains the same for the human eye? So yeah, it's interesting making the project scale more. But yeah, so if anybody here on Patreon is bothered by the file size limit, let me know, reach out, and we can figure out something. The desktop app is basically supposed to solve this, but we haven't really gotten to do so much work on it recently, so maybe it's time to get back to the desktop app. If anybody is missing an update on the desktop app, ask me in the comments. Yeah, so a few other notes. We rewrote the server in another language called TypeScript, and basically what we want is we want static types. We want to get help from a compiler. I don't know if you can technically call TypeScript a compiled language. It's probably a transpilation, but basically this language we're using now, TypeScript, will and I've already noticed the benefits, right? It's basically safer when we're defining the types. The compiler can detect things. It can, when you're doing stuff with which doesn't make sense, it will tell you. And of course there is a overhead because you have to define everything, but I don't mind that overhead considering the value you get in that. Oh, it will detect a bug. I noticed how fast it went, like going from vanilla JavaScript to TypeScript. It definitely like, for example, adding the avocado feature, like it seems like it's not that huge a thing, but that feature, even I felt that was much easier to implement when it was in TypeScript, because you could get these error messages that make sense. The problem we have with Imba, like I love the Imba language, I think it's amazing, but the problem we have there is that the tooling isn't that great compared to JavaScript and TypeScript. But TypeScript is even better than JavaScript in my opinion, because you get these type definitions, and the compiler, or whatever you want to call it, the diagnostics tools can infer and can figure out more things. And also, I don't have the link up here, but we also decided to go over to React as the framework for building the interface. So we'll be using React moving forward. Like, there are a lot of cool things we can do, and there are problems we can solve in the Anki ecosystem. Especially what we're focusing on right now is flashcard creation, but there are other things we can solve too, right? Templates, which I'm excited about, and I hope we solve that in a really good way. Something that's simple and easy to use and very flexible. And yeah, there are more challenging issues like onboarding for Anki. Like, is there a better way to do onboarding? Like, we joke around and in the Discord that basically when you start using Anki, the learning curve is this: oh, you think, oh, Anki is amazing, you learn about it, you start using it, and then you give up, you stop using it, and then it goes a while, and then you come back to Anki, and then you get it, and then you continue using Anki, or you have that cycle multiple times before you actually continue using Anki. So that sucks, and I think there's a better way. So yeah, those are the changes. If you have any feedback, let me know in the comments as always, and I look forward to giving you a new update, especially about the template stuff. It would be nice to get something out. And yeah, until next time, happy learning, friends, and see you soon. Bye.